What is up, guys? This is Crossface, back after many months. Not continuing the solo play stuff right now. If you do want to see solo play stuff, if you just comment, maybe I'll start doing it again. The intention of the solo play videos is just to give you, like I said before, I'm not a storytelling guy. I'm more of a rules, tool sets, guideline kind of guy. So I can continue the series if you really want to. Just leave a comment, and then I'll be more than willing to try to make that work. What's been going on with me? A lot of positive stuff. Actually, been really but I'm going to focus on. There's a lot. I got a promotion, different things like that. But I'm going to focus on the D&D stuff. Started a D&D club recently at the local high school. We do not have a local game store or anything like that. So this D&D club that we started at the local high school, huge for the community, in my opinion. Anyway, I've been doing that since last fall. So now, anyway, I'm just going to dive into what we're doing today. What we're doing today is I'm just going to kind of give you guys, or I'm just going to kind of flip through, give you guys my opinion on the Dungeon Master's Guide. Short videos, probably once a week, of just kind of like how to use this book to make your own setting. I think settings are kind of cool, and this is also another way that you can solo play, is by being creating a world first and then getting into solo play. Or this could be a good way of being a dungeon master. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it super fast. We're going to try to make this video pretty short. All right. First off, I want to tell you what's up with this book, how to use this book. A lot of people think that the Dungeon Master's Guide is not good. I'm going to tell you it is not. First edition Dungeon Master's Guide. If you get the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide, that's good stuff. If you get the Rules Cyclopedia, that is good stuff. 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide, not on that level. However, just because it's not on that level does not mean it's not good. There's stuff that you can learn from this. So how to use this book. Let's see. First part helps you decide what kind of campaign you would like to run, which that's what we're going to be doing. The second part helps you create adventures. And the last part helps you adjudicate the rules. So part 1, Master of Worlds. We'll go ahead and get there. I will tell you before I get too far into this is that we might flip back and forth because I do think this is kind of laid out a little weird. But we'll get into it. Chapter 1, World of Your Own, the big picture. Keep in mind that I'm going to emphasize this a lot. It's not to get lost. Looking at the small details. The saying of, you can't see the forest for the trees. What that means is you're losing sight of the big picture. Okay, so I'm going to reiterate a lot though. This is the big picture, not the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. Okay, so anyway, this tells you the big picture. These core assumptions are what defines different settings like the Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, Dragonlance, Mystara, Dark Sun, Ravenloft, Spelljammer, etc. So that's what differentiates stuff. Okay, so we are going to kind of dive in, and I'm going to, I guess what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making my own setting, because I think that sounds fun. I haven't done anything like that before as far as like using this book only. The whole idea is to use this book only and then maybe the player's handbook, and kind of show you guys how we can do that together. And if you comment and because I'm not going to be naming the world, I'm not going to be doing anything like that. Just comment some stuff and we will name stuff together. Maybe I'll make a world anvil, something like that, and we'll make our own world together. However, I'm just going to be kind of going through this and doing that. So we got core assumptions. Now, this core assumptions here is one thing, and then it's your world over here is the same. It's an extension, but it's the opposite, right? So we have world is untamed, world is known, world is mundane, world is magical. So this is like the opposite land, so we're not going to talk so much about this. But we have the core assumptions, okay? And then I'm going to briefly mention these, and then I'm going to go through and talk about what I decided for this world that we're going to be building, okay? Gods oversee the world. Much of the world is untamed. The world is ancient. Conflict shapes world history, and the world is magical. Okay, so now we're going to quickly get into what I decided for my own world, and our world, I suppose, is don't worry about the scribble. We have core assumptions here. Gods bless their followers. Gods bless their followers and they're jealous. So what that means, I have a bunch of different things here, but gods bless their followers, they're jealous, and what that means is that they are warring. They're feuding with each other. And obviously you can see how that can tie back into the followers, okay? All right. Much of the world is untamed. I actually agree with this. This is an untamed world. That means the world is wild and there's roaming, powerful monsters in the world. Okay? That is number 2. Number 3 is the world is ancient. I also agree with the ancient world. This means old ruins and ancient civilizations. Okay? Now this can tie into one another. You have an ancient, untamed world and you have an untamed, ancient world. So in the wild, we have old ruins, and we have powerful monsters in those old ruins that are roaming these relics, ruins of ancient civilizations. All this stuff ties in together, okay? Also ties back into the deities being very involved with their followers and the world itself. Number 4, conflict shapes world history. I'm going to step further. There's constant conflict. That means constant war. That means patrons. That means people are paying for stuff to happen. People are giving you quests due to this war of jealous deities, due to this desire to find powerful ancient artifacts that are in these old ruins. That is all tied together. Okay. Number 5, the world is magical. I have magic is dangerous. So that means there's few wizards. Now, they do exist, but there's very few of them, and it's not like they're super rare. It's just they're uncommon. So what this means by magic is dangerous is that natural ones will cause pretty much the opposite thing to happen. So if you're casting light, it's going to cast darkness. Okay? If you're casting guiding bolt, you're going to accidentally hurt yourself. Okay? That, I guess, guiding bolt's more of a cleric thing. Again, I need to really think about that specifically. Maybe firebolt would be a better. If you're casting firebolt, you might burn yourself for the amount that you're casting. Magic is dangerous. Few wizards. So that means nat ones are bad. Limited cantrips. I do not like unlimited cantrips. We're going to limit the cantrips. And also, I do not like. I'm going to limit the caster classes. So like no sorcerers, warlocks, stuff like that. You know, and then I am open to bringing those back in, but I more so prefer a world where there's just wizards, clerics, paladins, stuff like that. The last thing that's not on this list that actually is kind of interesting that I think that, you know, you can decide for yourself how you want to do this with your own world. But for this one, we're at 7 minutes now. For this one, I like human-centric. So human-centric, which means that they are the driving force. And also I'm going to limit, as much while I'm limiting classes, I'm also going to limit the races here as well. So no tieflings, dragonborns, or gnomes. I kind of want the Tolkien classes. Actually, what you see here in this picture, ironically, humans, elves, dwarves, and hobbits, halflings. So human-centric, they are the driving force of the war, of the deities. They are the ones that are making this whole thing work. And since magic is dangerous, magic items are very, very valuable because they are more reliable. Okay, so as you can see through these 6 core assumptions that I have, we're already kind of creating a setting. You do not have to play into that as much as the next person, but this is just the way you can do it. Okay, and that's just from this one page. You can learn a lot from just this one page, okay? Now, I don't want to get too much into different things, but the next thing they talk about here are the pantheons, and you can get lost in this as much as you want, but I don't think that this helps, especially in this where the gods bless their followers. This is something that is actually very interesting. And it says right here, to quickly build your pantheon, create a single god for each of the 8 domains available. And you have death, knowledge, life, light, nature, tempest, trickery, and war. And it also over here gives you an example saying that they took Athena, renamed her Erithus, and they took the Egyptian god Set and renamed him Zahir. So as you can see, this is something that you can play with yourself. I have a pantheon here. And it's not finished, okay? Look at that. Smudging stuff with my spit. Death, I have Set, the god of darkness and desert storms. I just really like Conan, and I like serpents and Stygia. And it just evokes stories of Conan in the desert of Stygia. So anyway, Death is Set. Knowledge is Odin. Life is Freya. For light, I do not have one currently because I can't find one that I like. For trickery, we have another book inspiration, Sithagwa. He's not in the player's. Actually, I didn't even talk about this. Appendix B of the player's handbook has all these pantheons. So this guy's not in the player's handbook. But this is a Clark Ashton Smith guy. He is a toad, lizard, demon thing, alien. Hard to explain. Elder race. He is the god of luck, misfortune, and mischief. For the Tempest, we have two different Tempests here. We have Thor, god of storms and thunder, and we have Zeus, god of the sky. So these guys are going to be kind of competing for the same domain. This is the domain that they're related to in the setting. So these guys are going to be competing for the same domain. A lot of conflict is going to be arising from different cultures worshiping Thor and different cultures worshiping Zeus. Also, I believe maybe that this last one and Set, the god of darkness and desert storms, is very much a necromantic deity. This next one is from another book, another inspiration from a book. His Ariok, he's from the Elric books from Michael Moorcock. He is the Duke of Hell, the god of chaos, and I didn't write this in here, but I guess I should. This means, in my opinion, that I really want to have something like Stormbringer in the setting. I really want to have something like that in the setting. Which, if you don't, for those who don't know, Stormbringer is a sentient weapon that steals souls. And whenever Elric is using this weapon in the books, he is slicing people up and saying, "Blood and souls for my lord Ariok." So that's something there. I think he might be. We'll not get worried about this, but I think initially my thoughts are Thor versus Zeus, Ariok versus Set, and some of these other ones are just kind of doing things. Probably Sithagwa and Odin would probably not have. They probably wouldn't enjoy each other too much. So for nature, I have these blank. I have light blank and nature blank. For nature, the reason I have it blank is because I think I want to have like god of the sea, god of the mountains, god of whatever. I kind of want to have different domains of the different elements. So god of fire. And then they can worship these different ones and they can still be part of nature, but it's going to be, so I want to have maybe like 5 of these or something and just use the different ones from different, like the sea, mountains, fire, wind, whatever. It's kind of like what I want to do. So I made this one page and kind of already got it set to like what this setting's going to be, you know. And that's just from a couple pages. We went from this page to this page and we figured that out. And we also used the player's handbook, Appendix B, and figured some stuff out that way. Now, quick preview for the next time, and I'm going to be done until next Sunday, but quick preview for the next time is we'll skip some of this stuff here, and there'll be a lot of flipping around sometimes in this, so I apologize ahead of time, but to kind of show you some of the stuff here, so we'll get in some factions, and from the factions that are probably going to be tied into the deities, you have a piety system, which means they gain renown basically in these factions, but this is a religious specifically version of this. So it means that they bestow favors to who prove their devotion. And with each rank, they can pray for a divine favor. For example, someone dedicated to Thor might receive a spell accompanied to the boom of thunder, by the boom of thunder. So that's just something you can do here. Also, we're going to have factions that are just not religious related, just different factions in general. And that's pretty much it for hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Hope you guys are glad to see me back on your phone, whatever you're watching this on. And hope you have a good Sunday, and we'll see you next week.